welcome to day 4 of Vlogmas. Today is going to be a bit of a book haul, part 1. The metro Atlanta area recently had an independent bookstore crawl. It started the Saturday before Thanksgiving and ended on Small Business Saturday, which is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I went to support the local indie bookstores. It's to encourage people to not shop on Amazon and to focus on buying books locally. I supported them. I think I went to 6 bookstores, and there's 6 bookstores that I typically go to. One new one that I hadn't been to before, which they were awesome and loved the vibe there. But yeah, we need to talk about the books because I got some books. So the first one I'm going to tell you about is actually, I think, the last one I went to. Is a new romance bookstore called All the Tropes. And it's in an area of Atlanta called Kirkwood. And yeah, I'd never been there. I don't read a lot of romance. If you're new to the channel, I don't really read a lot of romance. I like Emily Henry and Taylor Jenkins Reid, but that's kind of it. I do like Sarah Adams. I read one of hers and have a few more to read on my physical TBR. But I went in there, got some books. The lady that was there was really helpful. I have mentioned this because it's on my TBR for December. This is The Lodge by Kayla Olson, and this is about a boy band. No, it's about a woman who's a ghostwriter for a guy that used to be in a boy band. They start working on his memoir and are at this lodge to work on it, and another member of the boy band had gone missing years ago, and some of the, I don't know, hints at the mystery start to come out. So I'm excited. I love a good boy band. And I fell in love with the cover. This was totally a cover buy. I had 3 books in my hand. I ended up only with 2 because I was trying to be good. Like I said, this was the last one I went to. And this one was just calling to me. The other one I got is a local author, which is part of why I got it. I'd love to find some more local authors. This is When 40 Blooms by Jacinta Howard. This is about, I think it's about a single mother, and Simone Harris, she runs a sports agency that she built from scratch. She keeps things running, keeps herself moving, keeps her heart tucked safely out of reach. But this birthday feels different. It falls on a leap year, a date that only circles back every so often, a rare kind of day that feels like it arrives exactly when it's meant to, the kind that makes you pause and ask what you have been pushing through just to keep going. In that stillness, something begins to surface alongside it. Fatigue, questions, the quiet ache she has learned to ignore. She's not falling apart, she's shifting. So past reappears. I'm all about that. I was looking specifically for romances with older main characters, and this meets the bill. And then I went to a bookstore that focuses a lot on kids books, but they do have adult books in there as well. And they also have a lot of fun little bookish things. And so I got a puzzle. It is a 500-piece Gallison puzzle, which I really do like. It's got a dog in a bookstore. What more do you need? Maybe a cat would be good, but I'm excited to do that while listening to an audiobook. Just trying to remember which order I got these in. Does it really matter? Probably not. I did get a nonfiction. This is Radical Endurance, Growing Old in an Age of Longevity by Andrea Galatz. This is enlightening and deeply moving, alive to the sadness and joy of time passing. Radical Endurance is a guide and a companion through the experience of growing old, as well as an unconventional coming-of-age story celebrating a new stage of life when we need it most. Just sounded interesting to me. Being someone in middle age, there's not much written for women in middle age, so I want to try that and see how that one is. This is a book that I've been wanting to get a physical copy of, and this is How to Tell When We Will Die on Pain, Disability, and Doom by Johanna Hedva. In the wake of the 2014 Ferguson riots and sick with a chronic condition that rendered them housebound, Johanna Hedva turned to the page to ask, how do you throw a brick through the window of a bank if you can't get out of bed? This essay, Sick Woman Theory, quickly became a seminal work on disability because in reframing illness as both a biological and social experience, Hedva argues that under capitalism, we must reach for the revolutionary act of caring for ourselves and others. So this will kind of expand on that idea. Very interested in that one. I also mentioned this one because it is on my December TBR. This is Angels at the Gate by Sherry Joseph. This is another local author to me, and it's about a death on a remote university campus and a connection to a fraternity, maybe. So I'm reading that one right now. I also got Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice by Virginia Roberts Guthrie. This is a woman who kind of opened the gate to everything that we're learning about Jeffrey Epstein. And this memoir was left after Virginia Guthrie ended her life. And I know this is going to be a really hard read, but I think it's a very necessary read, especially considering all the effects that this story can have on the US. So I'm looking forward to reading that in a way that will just expand my knowledge about the situation and, what was going on during the time of Virginia's life. And then I went to, I think I'm going backwards in how I went to the bookstores in the crawl. So another bookstore that I really love, the owner and I were talking about books, and she kept pulling out books to recommend to me because I told her I liked paperback, and they were all books I read. So I kind of trusted what she recommended because she was pulling out the ones that I've read and loved. So one of the ones that she recommended is We Were the Universe by Kimberly King Parsons. This is when Kit's best friend gets dumped by his boyfriend. He begs her to ditch her family responsibilities for a trip to the Montana mountains. But what should be a carefree weekend of hot springs and dive bars only amplifies Kit's losses. Her wildness, her independence, and most heartbreaking, her sister Julie, who died years ago. Yeah, grief, road trip with a friend. I'm definitely interested in that one. And then another one that she recommended is Family by Lori Frankel. I've heard about this and seen it, and the author, but I don't think I've read anything by them. India Allwood grew up wanting to be an actor. Armed with a stack of index cards for research, line memorization, makeshift confetti, she goes from awkward 16-year-old to Broadway ingenue to TV superhero. Her new movie is a prestigious picture about adoption, but its spin is the same old tired story of tragedy. India, an adoptive mom herself, wants everyone to know there's more to her family than the usual stereotype. So unfortunately, she tells a journalist the truth. It's a bad movie. And then she's at the center of a dizzying media storm. My family has adoption in its history, and so I'm very interested in reading stories about it, see how it's done. Also at that store, I did a blind date with a book. I'm going to put a picture of the prompts right here, which I put on my Instagram. And the book that I got was When I Lost You by Kelly Rimmer. When Leo and Molly first married, they believed they were invincible. Together, they could take on the world. But Leo, a war correspondent, lives for life on the edge. And when he takes a step into the unknown, tragedy strikes and he loses his memory. Molly rushes to help him fill in the gaps, and soon they start falling in love all over again. The trouble is, Molly is hiding something big. The devoted wife at Leo's bedside is a sham. Leo and Molly's marriage was on the rocks long before Leo's accident. So that sounds interesting. So they also had a shelf, like if you spend a certain amount, you got a free book. So I picked up Biography of X by Catherine Lacey. I have read Catherine Lacey before. I think I read The Answers. That was years ago. This is about X, who's an artist, writer. She falls dead in her office, and then her widow, CM, wants to start writing a biography about her. But instead opens a Pandora's box of secrets, betrayals, and destruction. Don't really want to read more than that, but I've been interested in this since it came out. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Okay. One more bookstore. I went to another bookstore that we have that actually does some used books, and got a couple that have been on my radar for a while, and I just hadn't picked them up. This is Jellyfish Have No Ears by Adele Rosenfeld. I need to take the stickers off. Ever since she was a child, Louise has been not quite hearing and not quite deaf. Her life with this invisible disability has been one of in-betweenness. After an audiology test shows that almost all of her hearing is gone, her doctor suggests a cochlear implant. This irreversible operation could give Louise a new sense of hearing, but it would come at the expense of her natural hearing, which has shaped her relationship with the world, full of whispers and shadows. So it's going to go more into that decision, which, as someone who works in disability services, that is of interest to me. This one I'm curious about. This is Girl at War by Sarah Novick. I read True Biz by her. I didn't love it, but a lot of elements of the story I did like. This is part coming of age tale, part war saga, part story of love and memory. Girl at War is a debut novel, at once haunting and hopeful, written with the power of truth. In 1991, Anna Juric is a carefree 10-year-old living with her family in a small apartment in Croatia's capital. But that year, civil war breaks out across Yugoslavia, and Anna's idyllic childhood and sense of safety start to fray. When the conflict arrives at her doorstep, she must find her way in a dangerous world. And then 10 years later, when she's a college student in Manhattan, she's tried to move on and can't escape the memories of the war. This one I'm curious about, not really sure if I'm going to, like, even bookstores, stickers won't come out off. I'm not sure I'm going to like it. It sounds a little bit weird. I do like a little bit weird, but I'm not sure if this is weird in a good way. We're gonna have to find out. This is Shy Creatures by Claire Chambers. This is about the London suburb, 1964. Helen's unmarried in her 30s. Something of a disappointment in her middle-class parents. She's an art therapist. Oh yeah, that's right. She's an art therapist at a psychiatric hospital. And there is a man that is brought in that he has been, it's a mute 37-year-old man. And he has been living with his elderly aunt. And he's been shut away in the house for decades and no one knows why. So it could be done well. It could be done not well. We'll find out. And the last book that I got for the independent bookstore crawl is Women in Power, a Manifesto by Mary Beard. Just curious, I've heard a lot of things about Mary Beard's writing, and I thought let's start with a little book. And I hope to read this month. I hope to read a couple of the smaller books because, I don't know, I feel like for the most part, I haven't been reading much this year, and I kind of want to go out with a bang. So we're gonna put this on the TBR probably for December as well. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of these books and recommend them. I will be back, not really sure when, later in Vlogmas, maybe next week, with part 2 of my December book haul, which is thrifted books and one ill-advised bookstore stop after work one day. There's a bookstore on the way home from my work. And a Pango order. I think that's it. Oh, and my book club book for January. My book club did pick it. I went and got it today. And that'll be in part 2 of my December book haul. I hope y'all are doing well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.